this to be effective for sustainable peace?
What
are we saying exactly? What do the Palestinians do to really pay for this injustice committed to another population? They have nothing to do with us. They play no role whatsoever.
Which has shocked a lot of people in Europe. The conference which negates the reality of the Holocaust. This conference was much criticized by Jacques Chirac, by Angela Merkel as well. Do you deny the reality of the Holocaust and the death of 6 million Jews in the extermination camps?
Let me explain to you. If or while the Holocaust was a reality, why should we not enable researchers to carry out a more thorough study? That's the first question. The second question is as follows. If this is indeed a historical reality, I'm talking about the Holocaust, where did it take place? What was the role of Palestinians in this context? Why use the Holocaust to establish a state in Palestine? This leads me to a third question, which is as follows. Why are Western politicians so sensitive to Israel or Zionist-related issues? So many Palestinians die every day. 5 million Palestinians are refugees living without a nation, and this for quite a number of decades.
You will understand the calling into question of the Holocaust and the historical reality of the Holocaust has shocked people deeply in Europe and in the United States, and even in Iran. Some people wonder whether it's constructive to call history into question.
No, we're not calling this back into question. We're just raising questions. And we just want questions to those answers. And once we get satisfactory answers, this will be settled. Why, rather than answer the questions, why am I being accused? But in European newspapers, I was insulted. All I did was raise issues, ask questions. I just ask a few questions. All you got to do is give me the right answers. I'm among the most peaceful presidents in the world.
I would like to thank you for granting us this interview. You're going to go to New York. Don't you think that Iran is a bit isolated on the world stage today?
What do you mean by isolation?
Isolated. You haven't been able to split the Europeans from the Americans. You risk an increase in sanctions.
Do you believe that those few countries represent all of humankind? No. The world is a lot more important than those few countries, and the world has changed quite substantially. We're just giving them advice. We're just telling them that this attitude is not the right attitude. And they will pay for those threats more so than the others. We like Europeans, France and the French people. We have no historical problems with France. No hostility, no quarrels between France and Iran.
What do you expect of Europe today? Angela Merkel is president of the European Union. What do you expect of Angela Merkel, Tony Blair and Jacques Chirac to overcome the crisis?
Listen, insofar as all politicians are concerned, British politicians, left quite a lot of bitterness in Iran. Of course, the British people have nothing to do with this, but British politicians, to be honest with you, burnt all the bridges And there is no way...
What do you expect of Europe, of Angela Merkel, of Jacques Chirac and the other European countries?
No, we're not expecting any kind of assistance from Europe. They need to help Europe. Politicians, European politicians, need to have a closer look at Europe's role in the world. Why did Europe's influence wane so much in the world? What is Europe's role in the international context? Where is France in the international context? How about Germany? They have no influence whatsoever. Each time the United States does something somewhere or pays for something somewhere, they share it with the Europeans. And whenever benefits or profits can be reaped, they actually put Europeans aside. Of course, in quite a number of cases, France acted quite positively. For example, in the Iraqi crisis, in Lebanon, to some extent. But this is not sufficient. This is not consequential, and this is not effective. I believe that we are neighbors, and we are going to live next to one another for hundreds of years. For 27 years, the Americans have been against us, and Europeans have followed suit. And let me be honest with you, we don't need Europe's assistance. But we would like to live with good neighbors. In our region, the Americans are the most hated in the world, while the Europeans, because they're subject to American objectives, are actually in the same situation. Why should we support such a situation?
Join us again next week for another edition of The Talk of Paris.